Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called Principal. I was a shy, quiet 15-year-old when I first started working at a certain fast food restaurant in my small town. Then I encountered the general public. Many of the morning rush customers were super kind regulars who I got to know and liked. But then there was Penny Guy. Penny Guy was not a regular. He placed his order with no initial sign of anything out of the ordinary. His change came to 29 cents. "No pennies," he said gruffly. "You don't want your pennies, sir?" This was not unusual. We had a charity donation box right by the cash register where customers often left unwanted change or had us deposit it. The guy was glowering at me now. "Don't give me any damn pennies." "Of course, sir." I handed him his quarter. I dropped the pennies in the charity box. And then he exploded. "What the heck is this quarter? I want 30 cents. How hard is it to round the hell up?" I was caught off guard. "I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give back extra change. We donate what customers don't want and it all goes to charity." I apologize for the confusion. My drawer had to be correct at the end of the day, so this was absolutely true. Well, that was not alright. He went on a very loud tirade about how cheap our restaurant was and how ridiculous it was to round down. He cursed me out. Then he demanded his pennies back. "You won't rip me off like this. Give me my 29 cents. At this point, I could have given him a nickel from the drawer and replaced it later from my own pocket. If he had been speaking to me like I was a person and not a corporate punching bag, I would gladly have done so. But that's not what he was asking me to do. I put on my sweetest smile. "Only the store manager has the keys to the donation box. Give me just a minute and I'll go get her." At this point, one of the regulars behind Penny Guy speaks up. "Don't make her do that. Here are your pennies." He offers him some pennies from his own pocket. The Penny Guy's face flushes and he mumbled about it being the principle of the thing. My coworker was managing the line, so I decided that this man was going to get his pennies. It took a minute to explain what was happening to the manager. She laughed and said she would be there in a second. It took her a suspiciously long minute to retrieve the key and get to the front. Meanwhile, Penny Guy mumbled and glowered and for some reason stuck around for those 4 pennies. It was a principle apparently, and it meant he waited a good 10 minutes while his to-go bag cooled on the counter. Every now and then, when a new customer came to the till, I'd looked over to the Penny Guy. And I assured him, "Don't worry sir, the manager will be here shortly to return your 4 pennies from the donation box." This earned him a few looks while he waited. When my manager finally came to the front, we opened the donation box while the busy store watched. We counted out 4 pennies and handed them back over to a now very red-faced and much quieter man. "I'm so sorry for the confusion," I told him. "Here's the rest of your change." He took the pennies and left, still mumbling about what a rip-off the whole thing was. On the bright side, a larger than normal percentage of customers decided to donate the change to the charity after watching his tirade. I took some pleasure in the thought that even at a minimum wage, my time was more worth than 24 cents an hour. The next story is called Valuable Time. I was a bartender in a fancy restaurant in a snotty town. The restaurant was run by a snotty, affected, rude manager. The time clock was right inside the door used by the employees, and the code room was in a small room across the restaurant from the employee entrance. It took maybe 20 seconds to get there and hang up your coat. Everyone would walk in, clock in, and then put our coat away. I had just clocked in and was walking to the coat room, removing my coat as I went. The rude manager grabbed me and in a very loud and rude tone said, "Stop. Go back and clock out. Put your coat away, then clock in." "Okay, sure dude." The thing is, I used to stop on the way in and buy the newspapers for the bar. No big deal. Of course, it was off the clock. But not anymore. From then on, I would drive straight to work without stopping for the papers. I would get in, put my coat away, walk back across the restaurant and clock in, then go back to the coat room and put my coat back on, leave and buy the newspapers for the bar, then go back and put my coat away, all on the clock. In order to save the restaurant 20 seconds per day on the time clock, the route manager ended up costing them more than an hour per week extra. I got more money. He got no more polite. And the restaurant went out of business a few months later. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like button. It really helps. And now, onto the next story. The first story is called No Backup Needed. A customer of mine decided that they no longer needed to keep a copy of any of the direct bill accounts that hadn't had an activity for a year. In the USA, you can be audited for taxes going back 7 years. I argued with them because I've had to deal with too many IRS and FBI agents in the past to just accept that the customer knows best in this instance. We had a nice legal document drawn up and releasing us from liability and requiring them to acknowledge our concerns. And then we billed them $1,200 to write a purge script that would delete the appropriate accounts, and also because they were complete jackasses about it. Before purging, I backed up the database and told them where to find it, and also had them print a paper copy of these accounts and their detail. The next year we get a call from a very angry manager wanting to know who authorized us to purge this data, as they were now enduring an IRS audit and needed to provide proof of accounts they had written off. I provided the document signed by the business owner and let her know there's a backup and where to find it. It turns out that they also purchased the hard drive to make space, deleting all backups, and they also can't find the paper copies of those accounts either. Over the price of a couple of $200 hard drives to upgrade the storage, they just put themselves in a world of pain from the IRS. And if you think the IRS is even capable of giving you fair treatment, I can't tell you how many times I've had conference calls with IRS agents or their superiors trying to explain double-sided accounting, and that each entry having credit and debit is not some attempt to hide money. Combine this with not even having documentation to back up your claims, and you can see why I made such a fuss over complying with this customer's stupid request. The last story is called We Do What? I used to work at a before and after care place as a site coordinator. Basically, I was in charge unless my boss was there. We had so many entitled parents who never thought their precious little angels ever did anything bad. Let me preface this by saying I absolutely love working with kids. They are the best part of my job, but the worst part of my job is usually the parents, though there are some pretty amazing parents. Now, I worked there for about 2 years. There was this one kid who was in first grade the first year I was there and was super sweet, never got in trouble, always doing what we asked. Well, the following year he became friends with some of the older boys and started acting up a lot more. Like, basically every single day he would get in trouble and lose some time from his free time. Because there were usually so many of us working, about 5 every afternoon shift, a different teacher would catch him, take time away, and then tell his mom when she came to pick him up that he was roughhousing. This happened every day for the first 2 weeks of school. We were well within our rights to write the kid up, free write-ups, and you could be removed from the program. But because we knew how he was from last year, and because it was usually a different teacher disciplining him, it never got to the point that any of us felt he needed to be written up. Until his mom freaking complained. She set up a meeting with our director, my boss, and basically said, "Those teachers are bullying my 8-year-old son. Unless he is written up, I don't want to hear another thing about it." When my boss called me and told me, I was furious. First off, we had about 50 kids every afternoon. Why would 5 freaking grown adults want to bully your 8-year-old when we have 49 other kids to worry about? Second, why are you blaming us for what your son is doing? Obviously, the behavior isn't changing. Cue malicious compliance. So I got my coworkers together and they were furious at first. But then I said, with a huge smile, "So I don't want any of you bothering his mom unless he gets written up." All of my coworkers smiled, knowing exactly what I wanted them to do. It took maybe 10 minutes for us to catch the kid roughhousing again. Immediately we took away some time from his free time, sat him down and did the write-up. The kid has to be there so that we can ask why they did it, explain why they are getting written up, yada yada, and the kid just starts crying. Now, I hate seeing kids cry, but at this point he had been being a little jerk, so he kind of deserved it. I signed off on the write-up along with my coworker, and my coworker went right up to his mom with it when she got there. Her face turned beet red as she glared at her son before signing it without another word and stormed out, him following along sheepishly. We laughed about it later and didn't have another issue with the boy. He went right back to being an actual angel. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.